Where's the lying news agency of Nigeria? Are they here? Those liars and deceivers, are they here? That distort the news. You don't know what law is. You don't know what justice is. Where's the news agency of Nigeria? What are they? You don't know that God is a God of justice. You don't know that? That God in heaven is a God of justice. You don't know that? Never be tried in any court of law in Nigeria. Say it again. That's what the law says. Say it again. Anybody standing in trial or coming to try me is a terrorist. That's what their law says. As simple as that. Not me. As simple as that. Section 2, subsection 3F of Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act. That's what it says. Any court considered to try me is committing an act of terrorism. Yes. Very clear. You cannot violate a treaty that Nigeria entered into and then come to try that very person is not done anywhere in the world. So you must be aware of that. So that is why there is all these ridiculous delays. That is what Supreme Court said. I did not jump bail. My home was invaded. They came to kill me and I survived. They came to Kenya to kidnap me, brought me back to this country and seeking to try me, which the law says cannot happen. You cannot violate a treaty that Nigeria entered into and then hope to stand on that illegality to conduct a trial is not done anywhere in the world. I will have it in my case. Where's the lying news agency of Nigeria? Are they here? Those liars and deceivers, are they here? That distort the news. You don't know what law is. You don't know what justice is. Where's the news agency of Nigeria? What are they? You don't know that God is a God of justice. You don't know that? That God in heaven is a God of justice. You don't know that? Never be tried in any court of law in Nigeria. Say it again. That's what the law says. Say it again. Anybody standing in trial or coming to try me is a terrorist. That's what their law says. As simple as that. Not me. As simple as that. Section 2, subsection 3F of Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act. That's what it says. Any court considered to try me is committing an act of terrorism. Yes. Very clear. You cannot violate a treaty that Nigeria entered into and then come to try that very person is not done anywhere in the world. So you must be aware of that. So that is why there is all these ridiculous delays. That is what Supreme Court said. I did not jump bail. My home was invaded. They came to kill me and I survived. They came to Kenya to kidnap me, brought me back to this country and seeking to try me, which the law says cannot happen. You cannot violate a treaty that Nigeria entered into and then hope to stand on that illegality to conduct a trial is not done anywhere in the world. I will have it in my case.
Hello, my people. Welcome back to this channel, guys. We have a lot to talk about. A lot of things happened in court today. You guys know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was in court today to defend himself. As he said, his lawyer should step down, let him defend himself because this matter has, that's lasted for a long time now. It's now it's right high time he defends himself. So, guys, in court today, Kanu made a very bold declaration that shakes the Federal High Court in Abuja, guys. Trust me. Tell me why someone will be kidnapped and then they're not looking after the person. People that kidnapped him, they're looking after the person that was kidnapped. Guys, tell me, that's exactly what they are doing to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They went to Kenya and brought him back illegally to Nigeria. And, according to so many people, they say that's kidnap. That's kidnap. And then, after that, you are not going after the people that kidnapped him. You're going after the person that was kidnapped. How does it make sense, guys? And then they have discharged and acquitted Kanu. They still kept him there, to remand him. Guys, in a stunning twist at the Federal High Court in Abuja, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, made a very bold declaration that has once again thrown Nigeria's political legal landscape into a heated debate. Kanu, facing a long-running terrorism trial, stood firm before the court and declared that there is nothing to defend. He's insisting that the case against him is unlawful and baseless under Nigerian law. I don't understand. Is it that Justice Omotosho doesn't want to, is it that, why are they actually running away from the fact that he was brought back illegally? See, even international observers have said this man's case is not supposed to be on by now. This is illegal. The way he was brought from Kenya is illegal. Therefore, his trial is illegal too. His trial is illegal, it's baseless. So why are they still keeping him there? It is in Nigerian's law. This is not a formulated law. This law is not formulated by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This is what they wrote there in the law. So why have they refused to obey this same constitution? But when it's time to convince someone, they will obey that same constitution to convince someone. They will obey that same law to convince someone. You can see that it's as if there's a different law altogether for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I'm telling you, because they're not following the law. In this Kanu's trial, the law clearly says that, as far as this man was brought back illegally to Nigeria, his trial is illegal. So why are they still keeping him there, guys? So the report shared by a Mecca Gift official on Twitter described the scene of the jaw dropping. According to the account, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu refused to open his defense, leaving both the prosecution and the spectators in shock, guys. After carefully reviewing his full case file, guys, Kanu reportedly stood tall and told the court that there is no charge against me. He said, this is what Kanu said, and I quote, he said, there is no charge against me under Nigerian law. This trial is unlawful. This is what Kanu said. Now, this statement echoed through the courtroom, a defiant stand that challenges not only the charges, but also the credibility of the judicial process handling his case, guys. So, Kanu's argument centers on the critical legal points that the charges filed against him do not ally with any valid offense under Nigerian constitution. His legal team, though divided in recent months, has long maintained that federal government has struggled to present concrete evidence of terrorism, incitement, and treasonable acts directly linked to him. For years now, the Ipob leader's trial has symbolized a deep struggle between the federal authorities and the agitation, guys, for self-determination in the Southeast. Now, let us calm down, let's calm down. We're going to still play a video where, a barrister argued about this thing. Nigerian government, I don't actually know what's going on in this country. They have turned the law upside down. Why don't you go through the due process for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? What's the big deal? That thing your law says, why don't you obey it and, replicate it for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Why are they doing otherwise? Why is Justice Omotosho not talking about the fact that he was, brought back to Nigeria illegally? According to Kanu, he said that they came to his hometown in Abia State to buy him, and then he had to escape for his life. Even at that, they even buyed his, people that was in his compound, so people that were in his compound, and then he escaped to Kenya and settled in Kenya. While he was running errands, illegally, they came and bundled him. Guys, that then till now, Kanu has been coming out for trial. And not just that, terrorists that are buying people, millions, not small, like people that you can clearly state their crime. You can say, this is what this person did, like a woman that killed her husband. That one, everybody knows that one. Guys, that woman has been pardoned. What has Kanu done? You call someone a terrorist, no harm has been found with him. What is going on in this country? Guys, take a look at this video. And then also, there's this video, a barrister argued. Guys, that man made a lot of sense. I would advise you watch to the end of this, live session to get the full gist. Let's see what happened, because Kanu shocked many people in court, even shocked Omotosho. He said, this case is there's nothing to defend. Throughout this case, there is nothing to defend. So guys, take a look at this video and I'll be right back.
Where's the lying news agency of Nigeria? Are they here? Those liars and deceivers, are they here? That distort the news. You don't know what law is. You don't know what justice is. Where's the news agency of Nigeria? What are they? You don't know that God is a God of justice. You don't know that? That God in heaven is a God of justice. You don't know that? Never be tried in any court of law in Nigeria. That's what the law says. Say it again. Anybody standing in trial or coming to try me is a terrorist. That's what their law says. As simple as that. Not me. As simple as that. Section 2, subsection 3F of Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act. That's what it says. Any court considered to try me is committing an act of terrorism. Yes. Very clear. You cannot violate a treaty that Nigeria entered into and then come to try that very person is not done anywhere in the world. So you must be aware of that. So that is why there is all these ridiculous delays. That is what Supreme Court said. I did not jump bail. My home was invaded. They came to kill me and I survived. They came to Kenya to kidnap me, brought me back to this country and seeking to try me, which the law says cannot happen. You cannot violate a treaty that Nigeria entered into and then hope to stand on that illegality to conduct a trial is not done anywhere in the world. I will have in my case.
So guys, let me know what you think about this under the comment section. So now somebody said something, let's look at it. Feel free to drop a comment, let's talk about it. So somebody said, without being told, there is nothing to defend. I mean, he meant defend. So guys, it's actually very true. What is there to defend? A man that was kidnapped from Kenya to Nigeria, what is there to defend? Who is at fault? Even if, okay, let's take for instance Kanu, actually there's this crime against him. Are you supposed to go through that way? Are you supposed to go through that illegal act, knowing fully well that this move, is illegal? You guys went through the back doors. You guys went secretly and kidnapped Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and brought him back to Nigeria. If he was even a terrorist, let's just take for example, okay, there's this crime against Kanu, or there's this thing that he has done. Let's take for instance, because even up to now, there's nothing that Kanu has done. Like, I don't even know. It's as if they're just wasting time in this trial, because check how many years now, not even one thing. They have not brought out one thing that this man has done. Let's be realistic, guys. So even if there's something Kanu has done, for instance, let's take for instance, why would the Nigerian government go through that way to bring him back to Nigeria? There are many ways. There are due process you're supposed to follow. You do it legally. You do it legally. You inform Kenya government. Look at this man in your country is this, is that. Then they will take due process and bring him back to Nigeria, even if they're supposed to bring him back to Nigeria. But guys, there is no crime against Kanu. They went through back doors strictly and brought Kanu back to Nigeria, still keeping him. This is the one point. The fact that he was brought back illegally, the trial is invalid. It's not supposed to hold. Even American observers, US observers have said, why is this trial still on? Look at the way he was brought back. Why are they keeping him? What is the point that Omotosho wants to prove? Like now, there was this period in his court section that, after the DSS came for the witnesses and everything, so it was time for the Kanu's legal team to come and now drop their own witnesses. And then they said they filed a no case submission, meaning that there is no case to answer. There is no case anywhere. There is no case. That was what the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's legal team filed. So now, Omotosho said that there is a case. Where is the case? So I just feel this thing is not a legal case, because if it's a legal case, guys, long time ago, Kanu has been discharged and acquitted. And that settles it. This thing is no more, stop deceiving themselves. This is not more a court case. It's not more a court case, because if it's a court case, Kanu has won. Because there is no case. You guys have brought DSS witnesses, they have talked, they even wasted time self. They have not even proved that they have not even proven him guilty. Let me use that word. They have not proven him guilty. And I know that in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, an accused is innocent until proven guilty. I still say that Kanu is innocent until he's proven guilty. So it is left for those people that called him terrorist to come and prove him guilty. Guys, how many years now? Lingering, like how many years? Kanu is still in detention, remanded, even with his health condition, his deteriorating health condition. And then reports reaching us, his lawyer said that, he was attacked by DSS officer in custody in his prison cell. In his prison where they kept him, he was attacked, meaning that his life is even under threat inside DSS custody. What is really going on for a man that is passing through different health problems? What is going on, guys? Is this how you guys treat? That means you guys pamper terrorists now. For you guys to be pardoning terrorists, you guys, what is really going on? So someone that is demanding for self-determination can't even have peace again in this country. Someone that is demanding self-determination is now a criminal. Why the main criminals are parading? What do you say of these guys? This is no longer funny. Me, I believe one day, just like Kanu just decided to tell his lawyers to stay one side, go, let him defend himself. And it was time for him to defend himself. He said, there is nothing to defend throughout these charges. He clearly stated. In fact, he focused on the fact that he was brought back from, kidnapped him from Kenya. That was the part Kanu focused, because that's the main part. That's the main part. They brought him from trial from Kenya to Nigeria, and it's illegal. So what is his valid is invalid now. So guys, there's this man that talked about, like I said, if you have anything to say, put it under the comment section. Let's talk about it. So there's this man that talked about Kanu. Guys, he made a lot of sense. I want you guys to carefully take a look at this video, and I'll be right back shortly. So guys, take a look and I'll be right back.
Saturday, 25th day of October 2025. I just came out from DSSS now with some of my colleagues. Here we went to see Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So, and as you can see, we are no longer representing him in this ongoing trial. But some other matters that for him, and which we have both in Court of Appeal, the Federal High Court, and in some other courts. So those ones we are handling for him. So he told us this afternoon that when after the sitting on Friday, he was brought back to DSSS. So reaching there, one DSSS officer attacked him. One DSS officer attacked him. That's what he told us. So, and we said, okay, since it's like this, there's every need for him to draw attention to that incident to the court on Monday, when the matter will come up for a hearing. So you should let the court know, because we have consistently applied that he should be remanded at a correctional center, where he will have an adequate time and conducive environment to plan his defense. Now that the court went to the DSS and attacked him, and he has been mentally tortured, he was sad, and this is somebody who wants to go and enter trial, enter defense on Monday. So just to update you people, and we have also told him what to inform the court about it. So that is the update. Thank you and God bless you.
Wabuko, what's your reaction to kind of sacking his legal team led by Kanu Agabi and saying he's going to defend himself? How did you feel seeing him stand there in the dock and speak? How did you feel? Did you feel it was a passionate moment? Did you feel sorry for him? Did you feel that this man is like no other? How did you feel?
Well, I don't feel sorry for him. Nnamdi Kanu has always been bold. He says he's a man that cannot be intimidated. That's the fact. He's a man that has been offered presumably all kinds of gratifications to drop the bid, and he has refused to do that. So I don't think he's somebody to be pitied. I think he knows what he's doing, though I didn't actually expect him to sack his legal counsel at this point of the trial. I expected him to have, in fact, for me, I think he needs more counsel now than what he did. I'm not shocked. I know that he has the capability of defending himself, and he has the constitutional right of defending himself.
We have been asking why. Why? The previous analyst said that maybe he did that because of financial reasons. Maybe there's a financial undertone that some of these SANs charge a lot. But I don't think I agree. I think he's been engaging them for a long time. I mean, it's just like finally the tortoise is about to come out of the well and is suddenly crying. I'm just saying, it just seems like ill-timed if it's about financial decisions. I don't know. Why do you think he made that decision?
Well, nobody knows. But what I am aware, and I'm sure, is that his legal team is aware. I think he must have discussed with them and proffered his reasons to them. That's what I think. I don't think finance is a factor here. I don't think that the lawyers were overcharging him and then he had to lay them off. No, I am very sure that some of them are even doing it pro bono. I can vouch that some of the lawyers are doing it pro bono. A lot of people believe in his cause. A lot of people believe that he has a right to his freedom and liberty. So I don't think it's about money. I think he has his personal reasons, which he has not told anybody besides his legal team. I think they discussed and agreed. Whatever he will do today or subsequent days, I think it's in concert with his legal team. I think that they are still working from the background. You may not see them in Kobe then. I think they're still working with him.
Mazi Kanu would justifiably feel that he has been oppressed by the system. He has been held in custody, going through so much. You know what it means to be in a room and someone says you can't get out? All you can do is discuss with the wall. You are there losing your mind, and then you say you want to stand there in the dock and defend yourself. You are calling on Wike, calling on Malami and other high-profile individuals. You want to question them. You want them to serve as witnesses, and you are doing it in such an emotional, passionate moment. How do you feel Kanu would handle this case since he's opted to defend himself?
Well, we're not going to see anything different for what he has done before. He's going to come out there, roar like a lion, and then ventilate his views about the charges against him. I believe that one of the reasons why he dropped his legal team was that for him, he may not actually have ample time with his team. You know, I don't think they gave the lawyers enough access to him, so he will be
he complained about that.
Yeah, so if you are not giving him access to his lawyers, then more or less like the lawyers may not actually do much for him if he doesn't have unfettered access to legal representation, because some of them will go and DSS will not allow them to access him. Sometimes if he wants to be interviewed by his lawyers, there will be cameras everywhere. So how would they prepare him for the case? So I think he believes that if you can't allow me to access my lawyers, then I wouldn't need them. So let the bullets come, I will take them myself. I think that might be the reason why he's doing what he's doing.
How strategic is this new norm, for him, by the way? How strategic is it? And the merits of self-representation in a high-profile criminal case such as his?
Like I said earlier on, if he's not allowed unfettered access to his lawyers, it's as good as the lawyers who doesn't need to be in court. So it will still be people who are representing him. They are not allowed to prep him for the case. So it's as good as they are not needed in the court. So strategically, well, I think he will do his best. I think he's well knowledgeable. I think he has a lot of facts and knowledge.
He knows the law.
See, this time around, it's not about the law, it's about the facts of the case. Because the charge against him, there's a legal aspect to it, and there's also a factual aspect to it.
That's right.
The fact is that he did commit acts of terror. That's the fact. Now, if you establish that he committed acts of terror, then the law will now be applied to him. So from that doc, he's not going to give you legal postulations or legal views. He will give you evidence about the facts. So where lawyers are needed is to guide him so that he doesn't, skid off. But what it has to do with the facts. What is there to do during this examination in chief is to reel out what actually happened. There is a charge against him that he committed acts of terror. So what he will do is that he will tell his own story about what he did and what he did not do. So for him, he feels that he doesn't actually need a legal counsel this time around.
For him to dock these weaknesses like high-profile individuals in Nigeria, by the way, how do you think this is going to pan out? And as I stated, we've been asking that question: are they going to respond and come and defend themselves? But definitely, it was stated that yes, once you're being called upon, you have to come to the law court and defend yourself. So how do you see this panning out? Him naming these high-profile individuals as witnesses.
First, I think he named them to establish that he is not a terrorist, right? So these are people who are somewhat connected to his maybe rendition, illegal rendition, who are connected to several acts. People like Governor of Imo State that was reported to say that the acts of terror in the state were not perpetrated by Ipob. So I think he picked some people who he feels that they will actually make his case better. Now, as regards to whether they will come, there are witnesses that are competent and compellable. When you have to do witnesses, you look about competence and compellability. So, issue of subpoena is an order of court to produce them. Now, whoever is subpoenaed to come and give evidence also has a right to file an application in court. Telling the court that I don't have any connection to this case.
These people,
so
that he's called, they are not there to basically pour sand in his case. They are there to probably say some things that could make a better case for him. Do you see that happening? You talked about Hope Uzodinma now that has once dissociated the issues in the state from Ipob, right? Yes. So that's on one side. What about the FCT minister? Would he make Nnamdi Kanu's case better for him?
Actually, I don't think any of them will make his case better. But then in law, there's what we call a hostile witness. A hostile witness is when your witness turns against you. So if they come to court, they announce Nnamdi Kanu's witnesses. Now, if they give evidence contrary to evidence that will support Nnamdi Kanu's bid, what Nnamdi Kanu will do is to declare them hostile witnesses and put questions to them. He will not have a right of cross-examining his own witnesses. So what he's trying to do, he's trying to play a strategic, a master stroke by getting them to come to court. Definitely they will not give evidence in his favor. He will not declare them as hostile witnesses to be able to ask them some questions, which will make them to give some things that will extricate him.
Barrister Wabuko, I have to say this on live TV. You are too wise. You are just too wise. The way you unravel this case, the way you just, I mean, if everybody is turning the tables, then let's not. What did it mean for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu after so many years in custody, for Mazi Kanu to stand there in the dock on his own? If he wins or loses this case, what would it go down in history as? What would be the story of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in that moment, standing there, the Constitution in one hand, his case in the other, and all the other documents that he had, he recited, he challenged the court. What would that go down in history as?
Well, actually, I think that has shown somebody who is bold enough to stand for what he believes in, bold enough to stand against all odds. You know what it means that you are facing a terror charge and then you are not cowering in fear. Because actually what people expected him to do is to go for settlement. And he's saying, I'm not settling. He's simply saying, I didn't do this. I know a lot of people have approached him to try to settle out of court, to try to look at the option of settlement out of court, to try a sort of ADR, but he shows someone who is very resolute in what he wants. He's already making headlines. All of us are talking about him today because he's resolute in what he wants to achieve.
So what's the case? What are the key issues in Mazi Kanu's case? We're seeing him in court. We're talking about what the court is doing, what police is doing. Could you strategically tell us what the exact cases are before Mazi Kanu at this point? Since he's defending himself, we will say before Mazi Kanu. What are these terrorism charges in the first place?
Well, the charges are very clear. The Terrorism Act is very clear. Terrorism Prevention Act and Prohibition Act is there. So what he's trying to do is to establish two things. One, that he didn't commit any acts of terror, that he didn't incite people to violence, that he didn't encourage people to commit, that he himself didn't kill anybody or commit acts. Then, secondly, he will also try to establish that the court has no jurisdiction. That's why he's bringing some of those people in to talk about his illegal rendition, because he's bringing some of these people like Buratai to court to actually ask them questions as to how they brought him all the way from Kenya to Nigeria. So he's trying to establish two things. One, that he didn't commit acts of terror. Secondly, that the court has no jurisdiction to try him, since he's made applications which the court refused, up to the Supreme Court that remitted the matter for a trial. He's not trying to get to be on record by the evidence of the state itself. That's what he's trying to do. Get people who were once governors, who are in the military, who were former governors, to come and give evidence for him as hostile witnesses as to how he was illegally renditioned to Nigeria. And if he achieves that, then there will be no basis for the trial in the first instance.
As you calling out, some of the high-profile individuals are governors. There are 7 governors. Sanwo-Olu is there, and Hope Uzodinma. Now, some of these individuals who have immunity, are they going to, respond and make themselves applicable in the law court to come and defend and be witness, as Nnamdi Kanu has, named them as part of his witnesses? Are they going to, by the way, with them, having that immunity backing them as governors?
Well, they have a duty to do if they don't want to come to court. If the court issues a subpoena for a witness to come, the witness has a right to file an application stating explicitly while he or she will not be in court to give evidence. So people who have the legal protection of immunity can bring an application to state that, hey, under the law, we are shielded. However, you know what the Constitution does by that provision is not to shield them from giving evidence, but to shield them from being prosecuted.
Oh, yeah.
So the Constitution does not shield them from giving evidence in any matter. What the Constitution shields them is from being sued to court. So if you are bringing them as a witness, there's no immunity from giving evidence, but there's an immunity from or against prosecution. So that they can still bring an application to court to stop them from coming to court on the basis of their position in government. They can do that. It's not left for the court to rule whether they can be compelled to give evidence or whether they should be let off the hook.
We saw him in the dock right there, reading out certain things, and let's track back to when they invaded his house in Abia State, by the way, and that's when this whole thing started. Self-preservation is the number one rule to life, right? And he needed to self-preserve himself. So a jumping bail and whatnot is part of the reasons given, So now, stating these things, these facts, tying these things, and him, being arrested or kidnapped in Kenya, what are we actually reeling out and judging, since the place the law is meant to start is not fertile?
So you see, that's what we have been saying. We know that whatever happened in our father at that time, understand? For me, I will keep on saying Nnamdi Kanu did not jump bail. He did not. They were about killing him. It's very clear. The military wanted to do what they call show of force, and they carried the show of force from Umuahia Township to his village, to his father's house. They were proof. They were shot into his house. So it was not a show of force. So for me, I think there was an attempt to, let me use their phrase, neutralize him. So it was an act of self-preservation. We keep on saying that he did not jump bail. They tried to neutralize him. That's what happened. And then he escaped for his life before he was illegally renditioned to Nigeria. It was not even an arrangement between Nigerian government and Kenyan government. It was a stealth action.
And they ruled against it, though, the Kenyan courts. Yeah.
Yes.
So now you move into this issue. It's high profile. And some people may be justifiably concerned that at this time, this is when he needs his counsel. You said something earlier that he may not have had unfettered access to his legal team, and he complained about that as well, meaning that they might not be able to have the amount of grip on the story or his story as he would like. So he's like, let me just do it myself. That's what we're speculating on right now.
Yes, just speculation.
Yeah, just what we're speculating on right now. So does that translate to him possibly not trusting his legal team to handle this case, judging by the lack of communication that they've had due to the officials around them?
No, it's not a matter of trust deficit. It's a matter of breach of the Constitution, because Section 36 is very clear that whoever is sued in an action as an accused person should be given ample time, opportunity, and legal representation.
So what does he think? What does he think the council lacks?
The council does not lack anything. The only thing that is the problem is that they were not allowing his lawyers to prepare him adequately for his case.
Then does that show a depth of information?
Yes. So I think it's a matter of breach of the Constitution, because how can they prepare him when they are preparing him under cameras? How can you prepare your clients?
So does that so based on the story,
you're not allowed access to your counsel.
We were trying to draw a timeline because what journalists have not been able to unravel is why. So if we're to make a story out of this, Mazi Kanu has not had as much access to his legal counsel as he would like.
Yes.
Essentially, that means he's not been able to converse with them. And what are you conversing about? Information.
Yes.
So if he feels his legal counsel has enough information, then he can go ahead. You already ruled out financials. You ruled it out.
The lawyers will not have adequate information.
Exactly. So
you know one of the reasons why bail is granted is to allow an accused person to prepare his case. How can he prepare his case under CCTV cameras? What will his lawyer say?
So this is
whatever his lawyer will say will be used against the lawyers.
So we're using the elimination method. We've eliminated financials,
It cannot be financials.
Eliminated trust. It's not a trust deficit.
Yes.
But it's possible that it's an information deficit.
Definitely.
So he feels he has the most information about his case.
Definitely.
And as such can present and defend his case.
You see, there are things as a client you can only tell your lawyer, and no other ears will hear it. Because when you tell your lawyers things, you divulge some information that is not meant for the other ear. Your lawyer will now help you to prepare your case better. Imagine where the prosecution is also listening to your conversation. How will that case be conducted? The state is prosecuting. The state is monitoring the preparation of an accused person. So he doesn't have unfettered access to his lawyer. That's why one of the reasons for bail application is allowing the accused person to go home, sit down with his lawyers under confidentiality to prepare his case, so that he comes to court, the state does their case, the defense does the defense. But this time around, the state who is prosecuting is also part of the legal team, because they are listening to every conversation.
So let me jump in now.
Every question whatever Nnamdi Kanu will tell them, the state will already know. So what will he say again?
Let me throw in a spanner. You've established that, okay? Based on what happened with the NMA coming in and debunking the initial report that his own medical team gave, do you think that somewhere in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's mind, he is feeling like he doesn't know who could be complicit? Do you think he's envisioning a case where it's impossible to trust anybody? Like any politician, politicians can hardly trust anybody, right? You don't know who wants what. Do you think that he's wondering if every other person has been influenced? Now we've already heard, Kanu Agabi is a strong lawyer, powerful and the rest. But from what he experienced at NMA, and we saw his team earlier appeal to the NMA not to be compromised. They said it because they envisioned the possibility. Now this is not to say they were, but his team initially envisioned the possibility and appealed to them not to be used as weapons or tools. Do you think that beyond the issue of information, death of information possibly, that he could also have been thinking of the issue of if anybody could be complicit, if anybody could be acting against him? Because sometimes the enemy lies within.
Well, question you have to ask is that when the enemy said that he was fit, did they produce any result? They ran a check on him, right? Did they produce any medical result that his liver is functioning, his kidney is functioning? Did we see that? They simply said, we think he's fit to stand trial, right? Now they can say, no problem, let me stand trial. Let's go ahead with the trial. So I think it's a matter of a lot of people will believe, general view believe that NMA did it. You are conducting a medical examination under the watchful eye.
NMA's position is justified. My question to you, Barrister Wabuko, is could that anti-incident have affected Mazi Kanu in a certain way that he's wondering if everybody else is compromised?
Definitely, he's seen himself as being alone. There's nobody on his side again. So he has decided to go all out to defend himself without anybody assisting him this time around. So I think that he doesn't actually believe that any other person can assist him now. If every other thing is working against him, the medical team, in fact, he was not even allowed. Imagine where he was not, his lawyers were not even allowed, his doctors were not even allowed to examine him. And the court had to order NMA. Why should the court order NMA? Doesn't he have his own medical practitioner? Must he be the enemy?
So what are we saying?
So if you are sick, the court will order an association to come and examine. What do you want the association to do when the government is involved?
What are we saying? What are we saying? We've talked about information.
Yes.
Now we're bringing in the issue of suspected anxiety over who can trust, who can I trust?
Yes.
Is that a valid point?
Very, very valid. Did you expect the enemy to do the opposite of what they did? Would you expect the enemy to say that he should, that he's not fit to stand trial?
We're talking about his counsel now. We're talking about his counsel.
I said earlier on that his lawyer cannot prepare him when the prosecution will also be part of his preparation, because whatever they are doing, they will do it in custody, in DSS custody, with CCTV cameras. What will he tell his lawyer? So you see, there are information that you will not divulge until you go to court.
So this is
now, this information will not be in the open even before the matter goes to court.
So this is not a case of him not probably trusting those around him. This is a case of him saying, it's better I keep what I know in my head.
Inside, and then say it open.
The table. Okay.
Yes, and say it open, so that every year we hear it. Because if he does that, the oath of confidentiality will be broken, because whatever he's telling his lawyers, DSS is aware of it, federal government is aware of it, Justice Omotoso is aware of it, even before the matter is given as an evidence.
So
and they wait for him.
This
so
time
he'll be
around,
ambushed in court.
This time around, he has decided that since he can't discuss privately with his lawyer,
keep it inside.
He wants to internalize and break the table in court.
Exactly, break all the table, all the legs of the table, so that everybody will hear it, including the media, including the press, including every other person in the court. They will hear it for the first time.
So are we eliminating the death of information and possible suspicions around complicity?
As regards to his legal counsel, issue of suspicion is not there, but issue of lack of access, unfettered access to his legal counsel, that is what has really played out.
Okay. Let's talk about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's personality and the kind of person he is. He can be provocative sometimes and all that, his temperament and all. How can he manage in a law court that they need order in the court? Being the kind of person he is it going to be excuse of those attitudes while he stand, as a self-defendant?
I think the court will try to control whatever is happening. The court is the dominus litis of a case, so the court will try to slow him down. So he raises his voice, he starts screaming. The court will try to, and that's why maybe his lawyers because his lawyers will try to tell him to calm down. This time around, nobody will tell him to calm down aside the court. So I think that the court will actually try to slow him down, try to get him to calm down. Once I believe that Justice Omotoso will show a certain level of understanding, and then I think everything will play out very well.
Okay, looking at this case, right, from a permutation, how would this pan out after the 90 days?
If granted.
If granted, by the way, yeah.
Well, nobody can say. Nobody can say what is going to happen, because I think that until he gives his evidence in court, there are some evidence he might give. The court might decide some of those information is not right for the public to hear. So, but then when he goes into the dock to give evidence, we're going to see what's going to happen. But for now, nobody is sure what will transpire in court. Nobody's very sure.
Are we about to experience a shockwave in Nigeria that same things that are going to be said in that law court is going to have a ripple effect?
That's exactly what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is trying to do. He's trying to make sure that, because I know that there are certain things he may want to say, and his legal counsel will say, please don't go there. Don't cause chaos or crisis.
From the grapevine, right?
Yeah.
Said that certain reasons, part of the reasons why what is happening now is happening is because these individuals, these legal luminaries, always try to avert certain things to be said and put out there. So continue.
So when you are representing a client, there are certain information a client will give you. You try to rearrange it, or there are things you tell your client, please don't say this in court, okay? Let's rather go through this route. Now the lawyers, they know the decorum of the court, they know the demeanor of the court, they know the mindset of the courtroom, and then the setting. So they will try to avoid some certain things. But this time around, I think Nnamdi Kanu doesn't want that. He wants to roar. He doesn't want to follow the normal courtroom decorum and etiquette. He just wants to speak his mind. So I think he's telling his lawyer, stay off. Let me see what is on my mind. But then I think that the court will want to try to slow him down to get him to maintain a certain level of courtroom decorum and etiquette, because if that is not done, I don't think the matter will go on successfully. Very fully what the kind of person Nnamdi Kanu is, right? And right about now is him trying to say the raw truth. Do you think this truth, that the truth is going to come out from this litigation that's going to happen, is going to somehow destabilize the state? I don't know what he wants to say, but I suspect that whatever he wants to say will be earth-shaking. And then maybe in the course of the trial, the judge might want to make sure that nobody, of course, has access to the courtroom. The court may decide to congest the courtroom, so it will just between him.
Yeah. But we do see clips do leak. Clips do leak from the courtroom.
Okay, so now speaking of clips leaking, right? Now we're seeing a VDM who, of course, you know, is a social media personality, also an activist, and he's been very vocal. And lots of Nigerians are happy that he has finally commented on the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu case. So he is saying that all of this is just for public sake. Okay, in line with what Oji said, he said Nnamdi Kanu will likely be released at his old age. That's the government's plan. All these court appearances are just for public sake. Many Southeast leaders are behind his arrest. That's what BDM is saying about it. How do you respond? Do you think that Mazi Kanu, would they want to keep him maybe for 20 more years, as BDM is saying, till he's old and too weak to agitate for Biafra?
You know, BDM is a content creator. He's free to say anything he wants to say. I understand. But whatever he said is a very big falsehood. See, this Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case is not a common case. Even the federal government is not finding it very, very easy. Understand? Because this is a matter that has gone viral. It's not the everyday criminal matters that comes to court that will just be expeditiously tried, right? So it's a very sensitive issue. It's an issue that has to do with beyond a region, beyond a sub-region. It's a matter that is sensitive to the hearts of Igbo, wherever they are, whether they are in the southeast or outside the southeast. So it's a matter that has to do with self-determination. So whenever you mention Biafra, a certain kind of emotion is evoked in the heart of the Igbo man and the Igbo woman. So the federal government is not actually trying to detain him. For now, if you ask me, my personal view, as at this stage, the federal government is actually in a dilemma.
So away from
do we convict him? Do we free him?
Yes.
The federal government is in a dilemma.
Speaking of this dilemma, Oji.
Yeah. Talking about convicting Nnamdi Kanu, you're a lawyer.
Yes.
How would you convict somebody that the processes of bringing him into the country and the self-preservation when they invaded his family house in Omaya? So where do you start from to put the traces?
That is really what I'm saying. That the federal government is facing a dilemma because Nnamdi Kanu has kept on happening. Two major planks. One, that he didn't jump bail because the reason he was denied bail the second time was that he allegedly jumped bail in the first time.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I have the right to be granted bail. I didn't jump bail. There was an attempt on my life. I only tried to preserve my life. The Constitution guarantees him the rights.
Where's the lying news agency of Nigeria? Are they here? Those liars and deceivers, are they here? That distort the news. You don't know what law is. You don't know what justice is. Where's the news agency of Nigeria? What are they? You don't know that God is a God of justice. You don't know that? That God in heaven is a God of justice. You don't know that? Never be tried in any court of law in Nigeria. Say it again. That's what the law says. Say it again. Anybody standing in trial or coming to try me is a terrorist. That's what their law says. As simple as that. Not me. As simple as that. Section 2, subsection 3F of Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act. That's what it says. Any court considered to try me is committed an act of terrorism. Yes. Very clear. You cannot violate a treaty that Nigeria entered into and then come to try that very person is not done anywhere in the world. So you must be aware of that. So that is why there is all these ridiculous delays. That is what Supreme Court said. I did not jump bail. My home was invaded. They came to kill me and I survived. They came to Kenya to kidnap me, brought me back to this country and seeking to try me, which the law says cannot happen. You cannot violate a treaty that Nigeria entered into and then hope to stand on that illegality to conduct a trial. Is not done anywhere in the world. I will have in my case.
No be smart, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu roared like a lion in court today. Guys, Kanu made a very bold declaration. Kanu told the courts, this case is invalid. There is nothing to defend. Kanu clearly said, in a bold declaration, the fact his bold declaration even shocked the federal government. I'm sure it shocked Tomoto Show. According to Kanu, he said, throughout this case, there is nothing to defend. Is it not obvious that there's nothing to defend? How many years now and still counting? This part still keeping Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in detention for no crime at all. I will always stand with the fact that, an accused is what? Is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Nobody has proven Kanu guilty. In fact, Kanu stood on the ground, stood on his ground today. He talked about his, the way they brought him from Kenya to Nigeria, which is illegal. That was the point, that his lawyers have stepped aside for now, so Kanu is defending himself open in court, and then he even refused to what he said is there's nothing to defend. In fact, he shocked the motor show. He said there is nothing to defend. This case is unlawful, and they know that. They know. Even US observers have said that as far as this man was brought in illegally, then his trial is invalid. What is there to defend? There is no case to answer. So, in a turning twist at the Federal High Court in Abuja, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, Ipob, made a very bold declaration that has once again thrown Nigeria's political legal landscape into a heated debate. Kanu again, Kanu, who is facing a very long running terrorism trial, stood firm before the court. Kanu said, and I quote, he said that the case against him is unlawful and baseless under Nigerian law. So the report, this was shared actually by Emeka Gift official on Twitter. He said that Kanu said that there is no charge against me under Nigerian law. This trial is unlawful. That was what Kanu said. We were expecting Kanu to start, defending. No, but guys, what he said is this case is unlawful. That was what he said. And guys, Kanu's argument centers on a critical legal point that the charges filed against him do not align with any valid offense under Nigerian constitution. It's as simple as that. Even a baby, even an upcoming lawyer understands this fact. Why is it that all these people that parade like professional lawyers, they don't even know the law? They don't know the law, guys. How can someone be kidnapped? Instead of you to go after the person that kidnapped him, you're going after the person that was kidnapped. Does it actually even make sense, guys? You heard what Kanu said. Anyone that wants to try him is a terrorist. That's what Nigerian law says. That is what you heard. You heard him say that. So for years, the Ipob leaders' trial has symbolized a deeper struggle between the federal authorities and the agitation for self-determination in the Southeast. Critics argue that this prolonged detention violates fundamental human rights and international legal standards. By refusing to defend himself, Kanu appears to be making a very powerful legal and political statement, that one cannot defend against a crime that does not exist in the first place. Kanu is trying to say that nobody in Nigeria, no court in Nigeria can defend against a crime that does not exist in the first place. This echoes his earlier claims that his extraordinary rendition from Kenya to Nigeria was itself illegal, and that any proceedings following that act are fundamentally tainted. Guys, it is unlawful. So legal observer says his claims is upheld. It could dismantle one of Nigeria's most controversial trials in recent history. One of the other hand, the federal government insists that Kanu's action, including his broadcast and and the directive to followers, has endangered national security and public peace. How? These people should come and explain their points. They should come and prove him guilty, because looking at how many years now, no crime they have not proven this man guilty. So why are they still holding him when they are pardoning criminals and murderers? They don't know the full meaning of terrorism. I mean, they don't know the full meaning of a terrorist. They don't know how to describe a terrorist. Not even a knife has been seen with Kanu. So how would you call that person a terrorist? Just with his microphone. Is that a terrorist? What are these people that are carrying in live TV? Guys, have you not seen where these people are having peace talk, on TV? It's on the internet now. You see them with cache of weapons, parading. Military men will be present there. Nothing will be done. But look at a man just with microphone. They're calling him a terrorist. Kept him for how many years, even with his deteriorating health condition? Is this fair? Guys, government loyalists insist that this court must continue the trial to its conclusion, saying that no one is above the law and that justice must take its course. Meanwhile, rights organizations continue to demand due process and transparency, reminding the authorities that justice delayed is justice denied. For me, I feel that there's another law differently they produce for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because tell me what is going on. They are not even obeying the same law The same law they will use to convict someone, they will not see. The truth is, when this law is against them, this is the method they are using now. This is the method Nigerian government is using. When the law is against them, they will not obey it. But when it's in their favor, they will obey it. It's not obvious. Guys, as this latest courtroom confrontation unfolds, one thing is clear: Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case has become more than a legal battle. This is normal. This is more than a legal battle. It's a test of Nigeria's democracy, judicial integrity, and the national ability to reconcile with dissenting voices. Ask yourself: did this man wake up one night to just, start it? What happened? You guys negotiate with terrorists. Why is it that you guys cannot just talk sense like we can? Did he wake up one morning to start agitating? Something led to it. It is obvious that the Southeast is marginalized. You cannot tell me otherwise. Why can't you just make peace? See, nobody wants separation now. Nobody wants separation. Everybody believes in one in Nigeria. The truth is that make things better. Don't treat Southeast like slaves. Treat everyone equally. That is what Nigeria wants now. That's what Nigeria wants. So if you found this update very insightful, guys, drop a comment below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button also. So reporters gathered outside the courtroom. Tension filled the air in today. Supporters of Ipob leader could be heard chanting from his immediate release, while security operative maintained tight control around the premises. The crowd energy reflected the larger mood across the Southeast: frustration, hope, and a deep yearning for justice. Guys, I hope you heard what that lawyer said. That's a barrister. See, these are barristers that know the law. That's a barrister. If you watch that video, you can go back and watch it. That barrister made a lot of sense, guys. Now, you'll be wondering why he chose Wike, why he chose this as his defense team. They actually want to do something very smart. I know you'll be asking, hope Zodima has been, actually accusing Ipob of different violence in Imo State. But Kanu knows what he's doing. Kanu knows what he's doing. And the day this defense will start, the day this will be summoned to the court, for his defense will start. Guys, I can't wait for that day. Now, let's talk about because this case is now turning to another thing. The protest that happened, his lawyer, I don't know if they've released his lawyer, but as of yesterday, a lawyer Jimako was still he was still in detention even after being granted bail. We're waiting for the judge to sign the bail. Guys, even after completing his bail condition, they refused. In fact, the judge, according to Maxwell Okpara, was wasting a lot of time to sign from morning to, guys, the judge was wasting a lot of time to sign that. According to reports also by Maxwell Okpara, Kanu's lawyer, he said that Maxwell collapsed in Kuje prison. Now look at Showore that was already discharged, they have granted him bail and everything. Guys, you guys heard the story now. About 50 policemen came and bundled him, treated him like a thief. Why? Because he protested for Kanu's release. What is going on in this country, guys? It's high time that everybody, stand against all this nonsense going on in this country. So, guys, what do you think about this? I will still update you guys on what is going to happen next after this. So, guys, thank you for watching. Do well to hit that subscribe button, like, and share this video. And I'll see you guys in my next live section. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.